Hello everyone, welcome to the second part of my Mario Kart 9 prediction series, and in this episode I'm going to go over my character predictions. Before we begin, I've decided that besides the baby characters, I'm going to count all clones separately from the roster. I think they shouldn't take up a character slot and instead should be alternative skins for the already existing characters on the roster. I'm also not going to include any Nintendo characters because I think it's best to leave that for either Nintendo Kart or DLC. Anyway, for the number of characters, for the base game, 8 had 30 characters, and including DLC and eventually Deluxe, in total it has 40 if you don't count the villages and Inklings separately. Also, Mario Kart Tour has an absurdly large number of characters, so due to this, I expect 9 to also have a generous roster size. For this video, I'm going to go with 40. This matches the final 8 roster size. Considering DLC, it's possible to see this go upwards of even 50 characters. To begin, let's go over the returning characters from previous games. And of those, these are the very likely characters that are pretty much guaranteed to return. Next, these are still likely characters but don't stand as high of a chance as the previous ones. Finally, I'm going to include these following characters. None of them were in 8's base game, which makes me more reluctant to include them, but I still think they're all pretty likely. I decided against including the Koopalings, mostly out of pure bias, to be honest, but also because they take up a considerable amount of the roster, and I think it's better to have more variety. On top of that, they aren't very common in spin-off games, and in fact I don't think all of them have appeared in a Mario spin-off game since 8, besides Tour of course. I wouldn't expect them to be costumes to Bowser Jr. however, because they would all be different sizes and weights, as well as different animations, so they would all have to be separate characters. Next, I think it's fair to look into Mario Kart Tour's characters. These are the standard newcomers to that game, and I'm going to include all of them besides Peachette, as she is too similar to Peach. Pauline is pretty much guaranteed considering she's been playable in most recent spin-off games. I think it's fair to expect Hammerbro and Kamek as they've both been considered to become playable in the past. Monty Mole and Nabbit are also pretty inoffensive characters, so I think they should both be included. King Bob-omb was included in Super Rush, so I think he would be a great inclusion. And finally, I've reluctantly gone with Dixie Kong. She doesn't appear in spin-off games too frequently, but she would still be a great inclusion. On top of that, if we include her, I think we might as well also include Funky Kong. Finally, I'm going to go with PT Piranha as my final returning character. PT Piranha has been neglected a lot by Nintendo after the GameCube era, however in recent years he's had a little bit of a comeback with a number of spin-off games, notably Mario Tennis Aces and Dr. Mario World. That leaves us with 5 newcomers to guess, so let's get into it. First is Cappy. I would expect Mario Kart 9 to include a character from the most recent mainline Mario game. Obviously this may change for when 9 actually comes out, but as of now, that game is Super Mario Odyssey. While you could argue that Pauline represents Odyssey, I don't think she necessarily represents that game in particular, as she is more of an arcade Donkey Kong character, or at least originated as one. Cappy, on the other hand, is solely from Odyssey, so he would fit perfectly. Professor Egad. Recently, the Luigi's Mansion series is doing very successfully, specifically with Luigi's Mansion 3 from 2019. Next Level Games was even acquired by Nintendo, which means nothing but great news for the Luigi's Mansion series in the future. I know King Boo is already in the Mario Kart series, but I think it's reasonable to include another Luigi's Mansion character, and who better than Egad? Egad in particular has been considered in the past to become playable, specifically in Mario Kart DS. However, he ended up being replaced with Dry Bones. Honestly, at this point, I think it's only a matter of time before he becomes playable in Tour. Pianta. Ever since Sunshine, the Piantas have been a very prevalent Mario NPC within the spin-off games and RPGs. However, they've never been playable before. I think this is very unfortunate, as I do think they're pretty notable Mario characters and very unique too. I don't think Sunshine gets enough love from Nintendo, so now that the game has been re-released through Mario 3D All-Stars, I think it's about time that Pianta gets some love. Luma. In Mario Kart Wii, Rosalina had a Luma fly beside her, and I've always hated how they removed it in the following games. I'd love to imagine they remove the Luma because Luma would become a fully fledged independent character, but that never happened. Outside the Mario Kart series, however, Luma has been a playable character a few times, like with Mario Tennis Open and Aces, and has appeared in Dr. Mario World as a doctor character. So I think it would be great to see an independent, playable Luma character for Mario Kart 9. It'd be cool to play as different coloured Lumas too, like red and green. Boom Boom. Boom Boom has made a number of appearances in recent games, notably as a boss in 3D Land and World and as a playable character in Mario Tennis Aces. I would love to see a Double Dash sequel where he's partnered up with Pom Pom, but yeah, let's leave that for another video. I don't think there's enough heavy characters in my predictions at least. It seems a bit too unbalanced considering I removed Roy, Morton and the metal characters, so I think Boom Boom would be great to help balance that. Anyway, that's my final roster. Of course this would just be the base game, so there would be more DLC included afterwards. As I mentioned at the start of the video, I could expect Nintendo characters to be included in DLC. Of course we would see Link, Villager, Isabelle and the Inklings all return, but it would be great to see even more. For one, Rob to return from Mario Kart DS would be amazing. On top of that, Captain Falcon is a no-brainer, although I feel like they'd have to change up his design and style a little bit to fit in with the more cartoony Mario style. Other possible characters could be Kirby and Samus, although I think I'll leave these ideas for a future dedicated Nintendo Kart video, if I make it. For other possible DLC characters, or just honourable mentions in general, we have the Koopalings, the Broodals, Toadsworth, Spike, Charging Chuck, and of course probably more clones would be included along the likes of Tanuki Mario and Cat Peach. Anyway, that marks the end of this video. I'd love to hear characters you'd like to see become playable in Mario Kart 9. Otherwise, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please be sure to check out my previous video on Retro Tracks and consider subscribing. Anyway, thanks for watching and I hope to catch you next time.